And so is one of the challenges the fact you talked about everyone's coming with a diverse background, that they kind of go, this is how I think it should go, and so everyone's kind of like, what is the problem? What's the biggest problem with that teams face in this world?
I think the biggest, well, there's lots of challenges that teams are up against, but because of their complexity. But I think the biggest thing that they struggle with is politeness. So when a team is at its highest functioning, when all of the perspectives within the team contribute to make a better outcome of whatever that outcome is, every voice is heard, and every voice is considered, and teams have what we call a strong psychological safety, which is not our term. It's a term that was coined by Amy Edmondson, who wrote The Fearless Organization. But there's an element of fearlessness within teams that have strong psychological safety. They are allowed to, individuals within teams are allowed to speak up and offer opinions and raise concerns in particular, without the fear of rejection or some kind of social rejection or some kind of shame that's associated with raising concerns or asking questions or offering up ideas. So teams who perform have that fearlessness. It doesn't mean disrespect, and it doesn't mean that, you know, it's a free-for-all. It means that there's a fearlessness in the way they address ideas and the way they deal with emotion as well. Emotion is an underrated source of information for people at work, and teams in particular who do this well know how to use information to access viewpoints and to access ideas and those sorts of things as well. So emotion is often, because we are heavily invested in our own idea. As you said, Peter, you know, I kind of think it's the way we should go. I often invest in that significantly myself, and when I face with disagreements, I experience a negative emotion. I experience an emotional response. It happens to everyone. But knowing what I do with that information and being able to share that information with a group of people is a really powerful thing to be able to do in order to come up with a better outcome at the end.
Right. Yeah, because I mean, I used to work in a coaching environment, coaching skiing, and I'd have several people in front of me, and they all had different comfort zones, and basically it was just for me that, like, I had a very simple holistic viewpoint of looking at things, but it was just a clash of comfort zones. So someone might be comfortable about this, and then, you know, and then I'd have to be careful because everyone would be there for the week, and so I'd steer clear of politics and a whole range of things because we were there to ski and have a good time. And generally it worked really well. But I realized quickly that, people could, like, even though we're trying to create a group environment, I guess we're a team in a sense. Things could go right pretty quickly if there was one kind of person in the team that was like bringing the whole thing down, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And you can see that in sports teams, can't you? Like, I guess that's probably the most common example of teams gone good, teams gone bad. And you see that, and it's not necessarily just the players, it's the whole organizational structure, isn't it?
Absolutely. I think people who think that what they see on the field is the team are misled. I think the performance of that team is, okay, there's a bit of it on the night element there, but actually the performance of that team is a really massive ecosystem. And you just look at, like, you know, any conflict within that ecosystem, the impact that has on players on the night. I think it's I think the notion of team has to probably be broader in order for it to be effective. And yeah, Peter, I think your coaching skiing example is an example where, you know, we're all the conversation to talk about those sort of sensitive topics There's nothing wrong with that. It's just that you have to create the environment for that to happen safely, so that people still know why they're there. They still know that they're there to learn to ski and to have a good time. And I think, you know, in one instance or in 1 week of coaching people to ski, you don't really have enough time to set up the safety necessarily to be able to then raise those things. So you make a judgment call on what you've got time for. But a team that's there to do something, a team that's there in an organization to deliver something really meaningful for that organization does have time, and it's in the interests of the team and the leader and the organization to create that environment, so that if those differences do come up, well, we need to be able to decide that we aren't going to discuss them, or we are, and we need to collectively agree that and know that it's for the good of the team. Yeah.